Good morning, this is David Benson of Cornhusker Hybrids LLC in Lincoln, Nebraska, where our mantra and trademark is success starts with a seed. No truer words have ever been spoken in this business. Everything depends on the seed all around the world. I'm kind of in my fact or fiction series, and one of the things I've been thinking a lot about is winter nurseries, and if they're really worth their cost, and if they really increase the rates of genetic gain like you would expect when you can run faster, given the way the genetic equation is written. And I want to just take a minute here. I don't normally do this, but I'm actually going to read out of a text. Walt Fair's Principles of Cultivar Development at Iowa State. This is a book I had in 1987. It's got a great chapter, if you ever want to review, 17 on maximizing genetic improvement. Okay? And there's just a little paragraph here that I want to touch on, and rather than speak it myself, I thought I would read it quickly. The concept of genetic gain is based on the change in the mean performance of a population that is realized with each cycle of selection, however you define your cycle. One cycle includes the establishment of the segregating population. That's not necessarily true with DH. Development of the genotypes for evaluation, okay, hybrids, whatever. Evaluation of the genotypes, selection of the superior ones, and utilizing the selected parents to form a new population for the next cycle. That works the same whether you're doing half sib, full sib, or you're doing what I call conventional breeding in a company where every generation that you breed, however long it takes, you want those inbreds and hybrids should outperform the ones from the cycle before. That is the goal. If we're not doing that, we're probably getting it right. But the key thing here is the length of the time required to complete a cycle varies. Therefore, for comparison purposes or for figuring out your rate of genetic gain, it's expressed on a yearly basis. All right, so really when you look at a winter nursery, if you're getting 2 generations a year, that cuts your cycle time in half for every one of those generations, and your rate of genetic gain should absolutely be higher than if you were not using winter nursery. And the breeder seeks to identify the strategy that utilizes your resources to provide the greatest gain per year. Every breeder in this business, that is what you should be doing. That is what your intent is to do if you work for a big company, unless you're into just a population improvement, maintaining genetic diversity, and some of those things. If you're a commercial breeder developing lines or hybrids or whatever you sell, whether it be clones, if you're in grass, whether it be turf, whether you're producing berries or whether you're growing canola, cassava, or maize, your goal is to maximize your rate of genetic gain. And using winter nurseries, some people call them Contra, some people call them off-season. I always call them winter because I live in a part of the world where we only have one season, and we have to go to what we call winter nursery in somewhere like Chile, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, somewhere like that from the U.S. There's really nowhere in the continental U.S. where we can safely run a winter nursery. So that's what we're doing. We're using, so the thing is, fact or fiction? Does the use of these winter nurseries really work? And I'm going to say essentially no, or it depends. First thing is, if you are working in back crossing, where having multiple nurseries a year, you're moving faster. If you're working in trait integration or something like that, where you're integrating traits, most everybody is using 2 or even 3 nurseries a year. That's not really what I'm talking about as far as increasing the rate of genetic gain from a given program or a different company's program. So if we were just to take the old genetic gain equation that I love, and this also comes out of the chapter of maximizing improvement. But anyway, it's the selection differential times the parental constant times the additive variance over the air variance divided by reps and environments, the genotype by environment interaction divided by environments, and the delta G, which has many components, additive, dominant, additive by dominant, all kinds of things working in there. But the big thing is the Y, okay? The smaller that number is, the bigger your genetic gain should be. And it should be relative to the number of years. So if you're working a conventional program and it takes you 10 generations, let's say, not doing DH, and half of those were in winter, it should definitely really increase your genetic gain. But I don't think it does. In my experience, it actually doesn't. So that's where that goes. Just quickly, for you Borlaug, the Borlaug fans, the equation simplifies to selection intensity times R, which is the accuracy of selection, which is more or less all the other variables that are in the other equation put together, and the additive genetic variance divided by the years. So the years, again, crucial to determining your rated genetic gain. And that's been the thing with DHs. They cut the years somewhat. They don't cut them in half, because you still have to test and do the other things. But you get an inbred essentially in 1 year. You have an inbred, and then you got to increase the seed and you go. You're not working with segregating material. You don't have to deal with that. But so you can see that if the winter nurseries are as efficient as your summer nurseries, let's say, and the costs were the same, let's say, you should come out ahead, right? You should absolutely come out ahead. But in my experience, that's not really what happens. A lot of things happen in winter nursery, but just a lot of things happen because of weather, because of the intensity of the work, how fast it goes, because many winter nurseries try to do more than they should with less people than they should and less resources than they should. They try to work more crops. They have very narrow windows to get things done, and things just don't always get done right. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And a lot of it's weather, I know. But still, in my experience over my career, I've got 35 years or more now. I'm going to winter nurseries, and I'm saying, I don't think in my career it's helped me really at all. It really hasn't, because we've had so many setbacks. There's always a reason for a setback. And it's expensive. It used to be a lot more expensive in comparison to summer. Now it's fairly close to the same thing, but you still have to ship the seed, get it back. You still have all the work and the things, the intensity of the work in the fall to get the seed turned around and get it down there. The intensity of the work in the spring to get the seed back and turn it around. You can also have huge, significant quality issues coming out of winter ISOs that you don't normally have in the summer. I mean, when I was with Pioneer years ago, they were trying to establish a winter nursery in Costa Rica, and I had to send 100 rows down there, 100 rows. So I sent the simplest stuff I had, some segregating populations to self, and I sent 100 rows, and I didn't even get back a cigar box. Didn't even get back a cigar box for all the seed I sent. Well, Pioneer didn't go with that, right? The next year they killed it. We've been I worked with popcorn, I worked with yellow corn, I worked with white corn, and we've had setbacks in just any of the crops at different times. I found some summer nurseries where we just do such a great job. The people do great work. They're in places that are pretty weather secure and representative of the U.S. climate, and the people are great, and we just get great results. And so I don't use winter nursery anymore to speak of, unless I want to, get some generations increased. I think selfing is the safest thing to do. Sometimes you don't get that back. If you go with ISOs or seed production or making hybrids with hand carries in the nursery, things get a little shaky. much better in the U.S. So I'm just going to close here, and I'm going to answer that question again. Fact or fiction? Do the use of off-season Contra, people call them Contra, I call them winter nurseries, actually increase your rate of genetic gain? And I'm going to say, no, it probably really doesn't when all the factors are taken into account over the course of, say, a decade. If you're back crossing or trait integration, then you're trying to, run as fast as you can, then yes, it does. But for us people, what I'm doing now, making double haploids, and then, increasing seed, making hybrids, testing hybrids, and developing lines, and going back, I mean, it really doesn't help me that much. And one time, actually, after you don't do it once, you get your program going, then you're still testing, self and selecting every year. So I'm going to close this, but I'm going to say fact or fiction? No, it hasn't helped me in my career. That I will say. And so I'll close today. Wherever you're at, whether you're pollinating, whether you're harvesting, whether you're planting, we have the greatest job in the world. We can be right about 0.1% of the time, and they'll build a monument to us. Big inbreds and hybrids are rare. Empire builders is what they are. And here at Cornhusker Hybrids, we work to build empires. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Oh, I thought you were going to knock it out.